chop it to the beat. Tailgate every Sunday, yeah, we bleed that red and gold. Kansas City Chiefs, it's time to take control. Now stop and do the nay-nay. Scored another touchdown, now it's time to hit the balls. Now stop and do the nay-nay. Scored another touchdown, now it's time to hit the balls. Now hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Now hit it, hit it, hit it.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? You are tuned in to the Arrowhead Chief Podcast. I am your host, Cris Style. Thank you for listening. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. I appreciate you taking your time to listen to me today. We got a few things to get into. Got a couple of players who have returned to the Kansas City Chiefs on offense and defense that are vital to the success of the Chiefs. We also have a new signing on the defensive side, specifically the defensive line. And we got a preseason game that's going to happen on Saturday where we get to look at the Kansas City Chiefs, especially some of these young guys, these young rookies that are coming on this team. We get a good look at them and see what they can do on this field when it's a live game going on. So before we get into all of that, I have a huge announcement. If you've been following my Twitter, you've seen my announcement. But if you haven't, my announcement is I have started a collaborative partnership with Every Morning Quarterback. They are a podcast network that they're starting this new thing called Locker Room, where they're trying to get podcast representation for every NFL team. And they asked me for my podcast, the Arrowhead Chief Podcast, to be a representation on their website, Every Morning Quarterback, for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I just want to give them a shout out, thank them for allowing me to share my platform on their website and their network. Just want to show my gratitude and appreciation, and hopefully this collaboration can be beneficial for both of us. And I relish and can't wait and excited for this new opportunity. So, like I said, thank you for Every Morning Quarterback. And when I put my podcast up, these will be available on not only on the streaming networks that I've always Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, but they also will be available on everymorningquarterback.com. You can check them out. Look them up on Twitter. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Give them a shout out. Hit them up. Listen to them. They got their own podcast too. So check them out. They got some good stuff over there. So shout out to those guys. So let's get into it. First things first. We got a few players that returned to practice on Tuesday, I want to say. Rashad Fenton, cornerback, came back, got off the PUP list. He returned to practice, and he looks like he hasn't skipped a beat. He looked pretty good. He only played in, you know how the Chiefs do when they have a returning player. They don't, just throw them into the fire. They kind of do a rev up thing where they'll do the individual drills. They'll do one-on-ones, but they won't do too many 11. They won't do the 11-on-11 yet. They'll try to rev them up. So I expect Rashad Fenton probably he probably did 11-on-11 on. I don't know if he did 11-on-11 on Thursday's practice, but I would imagine on Monday he'll be on 11-on-11 after this game on Saturday. Also, Jody Fortson returned on Thursday. That was very vital because we need Jody Fortson. He is a key contributor on this team, and we need Jody Fortson on this team because he provides something that, and don't get it twisted, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL, but Jody Fortson, he brings a certain level of athleticism and height and size that the other tight ends don't bring. So I'm excited to see what Jody Fortson can bring on this team. Also, the Chiefs have signed defensive tackle Danny Shelton, former former first round pick of the Cleveland Browns. He spent some time with the New England Patriots, the Detroit Lions. He actually won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and he also was with the New York Giants last year. He's a big nose guard type, run stuffing defensive tackle. They signed him to a 1 year deal, and it speaks volumes to the defensive line. You know, the Chiefs have met. That's like, if you look at them, Veach's lately, the moves that he's made is mostly on the defensive line. They signed Carlos Dunlap. They signed in Danny Shelton. So they're trying to do their best to make this defensive line as solid as they can for this season, because I believe next season they're gonna go even harder to try to booster up this defensive line and get some big time players on that defensive line. But for right now, for the 2022-2023 season, they're trying to make it as solid as they can, bring in some veteran leadership, some guys. Carlos Dunlap, very savvy veteran, been in the league for 13 seasons. He's 33 now, but still is a productive pass rusher. Last year he had 8.5 sacks. He's never had a season under 6 sacks, so that is very impressive. So he's coming into this season with 96 sacks, career sacks. So Carlos Dunlap has always been a very productive pass rusher, and that's what he brings to the table. And then you have Danny Shelton, big nose guard, defensive tackle, who brings his run stuffing ability. He'll probably be in the rotation of the defensive line with Noddy and Turk Warden. But it does speak volumes to a Colin Saunders and Stallworth. So we'll see how that works out. But let's get into it, man. Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern in Chicago, the Kansas City Chiefs will be traveling there to play their first preseason game. We will get a look at the first unit. Andy Reid said on Thursday, each quarterback will play a quarter. Now, I do not believe Patrick Mahomes in that first team offense will be playing a quarter. I think if they move the ball in the first 2 series, get a touchdown, maybe a couple touchdowns, maybe Andy wants to see it again, get a rhythm going, that he will pull them out the game. Be prepared to see Chad Henne, Shane Bichelle, and Daniel Crum for most of the game. You will not see Patrick Mahomes play a full quarter. Unless the offense just looks horrible and Andy Reid is like, no, you guys are going to get out there and we're going to put something good on film. I don't believe Patrick Mahomes will be out there. You can't afford Patrick Mahomes to go out there and get hurt in preseason. If he gets hurt, you might as well call it a season. He is very vital to the success of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I believe they'll play a series or maybe 1 or 2. I believe 1. I think they march down the field and get some type of points on it, whether it be field goal or a touchdown. I think they get some type of points on the board. But this preseason is more important to get a look at some of these rookies, the Trent McDuffies, the George Karlaftis, the Sky Moore, Brian Cook, Leo Chenal, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Nazir Johnson, those young guys, Isaiah Pacheco, these young guys will be vital to get a good look and see what they have in these kids. Now, it's preseason, and it's not the end-all be-all if these kids, go out here and make mistakes. This is the time where you're supposed to make mistakes. But we do want to see some flashes in their game. I want to see Sky Moore go out there, make some plays. I want to see George Karlaftis get pressure on the quarterback. I want to see Trent McDuffie looking good in pass, when he's out there on a receiver, breaking up passes, maybe even get an interception. I want to see it on the field. Same thing with Joshua Williams, same thing with Jalen Watson, Nazir Johnson, and Isaiah Pacheco, who's been the hype of training camp. We need to see him on kickoff making plays, and we need to see him when he's running the football, because I believe he's going to get him and Derek Gore are probably going to get the most run on Saturday as far as running back. I think Clyde will be out there for a few snaps. I think Ronald Jones will be out there for a few snaps. And I do think Jared McKinnon will be out there for a few snaps. But I think for the majority of the game, it'll be the Isaiah Pacheco show and the Derek Gore show. So it's going to be vital to see what these guys can do on the field when it's live action, not playing against your team, not doing the same repetition that, the coach wants to see a look at. No, you're going out there now. If you know anything about preseason is very, very vanilla. It is not, Andy Reid digging into the bag of tricks, trying to, complicate some things for the defense and show a look. And no, it's going to be just straight up football. Here's the game plan. It's real simple. Go out there and play and have fun. Fly around, be loose. If you make a mistake, you shake it off. Let's run it again. So the preseason is going to be very instrumental for the young guys to get confidence going into the regular season, because they're going to be very vital. And I know I keep using that word vital, but it's the truth. They're very vital to the success of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially on that defensive side. Now, because Sky Moore, even though he's looked good in training camp, he's probably going to be the third, fourth-ish option. Now, if Sky Moore continues to improve as the season, he has an opportunity to move up over Mecole Hardman and over MVS to be the number 2 receiver. He has an opportunity. He has the potential there. But he has the work ethic. He has the determination. He has the right mindset. He's a humble kid. He goes out there and puts his head down and works hard. He's trying his best to get on the same page with him and Patrick. And him and Patrick seem like they have a little bit of chemistry already. And I just can imagine that that's going to grow as the season goes on. But he does have to show that Patrick Mahomes can lean on him when they need a big play. When it's 3rd and 7, Patrick Mahomes can find Sky Moore, open, ready to go. So it's going to be very vital. And also on the defensive side, you want to see George Karlaftis look good. You want to see him use that bull rush and use that power and get after the quarterback. If George Karlaftis goes out there and looks like he's bringing pressure, or even if he gets a QB hit, or if he takes the quarterback down, that's going to be a good sign. That's going to be a good sign. Be it as it may only be preseason. And I know it's the Chicago Bears. They're probably projected to be the worst team in the league, but still, you want to see George Karlaftis, our first-round pick, have success against a lower than, I don't want, an inferior team. No disrespect to the Chicago Bears, but let's call it what it is. So let's see how these young guys look when they take the field on Saturday. That will be very instrumental. I want to see these young guys flying around, making plays, and making this thing interesting. Now, I want to talk about a few players going into this game. Let's talk about Ronald Jones. Now, Ronald Jones was brought in the offseason. Everybody thought Ronald Jones was going to be kind of a change of a pace running back to Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he got signed. This was before they signed Jared McKinnon. And the thought was Clyde was going to be 1A, Ronald Jones was going to be 1B, and they were going to split carries. Clyde was going to be more of the catch out of the backfield guy, whereas in Ronald Jones was going to be more of the between the tackle guys, the third and short guy, and they were going to be a collaborative effort. Then they end up signing Gerald McKinnon back, who was coming off of a little surgery. And they brought him back, added him to the fold, which was fine because he brings a level of speed that those other two don't have. And then They signed, they drafted the young kid Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round, and they still have Derek Moore. Now, what they didn't, I don't think the Chiefs anticipate. I think they believe, because Brett Beach said it in his presser that he believes in the 7th round that there's 1,000-yard rusher in this draft or this past draft, and then they end up drafting Isaiah Pacheco, running back out of Rutgers. Um, I don't think they anticipated Isaiah Pacheco to come in to camp and you know go out there and just show off, just look like pretty much a superstar in the making, a diamond in the rough, a steal. He had I think he had the fastest time as far as the running backs go. He ran a 4.37. The kid is what, 5'11", 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's a big kid. He's not a small guy. And to run a 4.37 at that size, that's pretty impressive. So he has speed to him. He looks pretty good as a pass catcher. He can catch the ball out the backfield. And I don't think the Chiefs anticipated him to catch on just like that. I thought they was gonna have to. I think they thought that he's gonna have to slow burn it, feed him little by little, and because this Andy Reid offense is very complicated, but also they anticipate that their running backs have to be good in pass protection. That's one of the main things, because they pass the ball a lot. That you got to be the last line of defense for Patrick Mahomes. And he has to, so he could trust to stand in that pocket and throw the football from the pocket. So, but from what I've seen, the few reps that I've seen, Isaiah Pacheco has looked good in pass pro. And what that means for Ronald Jones is that I don't think the Chiefs anticipated for Isaiah Pacheco to pick up the playbook as fast as he has and and get the ball and rolling like he is. And I think this preseason game is going to be important for Ronald Jones. If Ronald Jones doesn't go out there and show off or show some type of flashes on that field, he might be on the roster bubble. I think because it's a 90. The roster is at 90, so they have to cut the team down from 5 players. So what's that, 90? I want to say was 90, was that 85 players? Yeah. So that cuts down to 85 players, I think, on Tuesday. So, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be very important on Saturday that Ronald Jones has a great game. He has to. This is very instrumental for Ronald Jones to go out there and have a good game. Another player, wide receiver, Josh Gordon, who spoke on Tuesday, who didn't sound very confident. Not to say he didn't. I ain't gonna say he didn't sound confident. I just think that Josh Gordon understands that if he doesn't go out there and produce on Saturday, he might get cut on Tuesday. As deep as this wide receiver room is already, and the emergence of you got your first 4. You got Juju, you got McCole, you got MVS, you got Sky Moore. And with the emergence of Sky Moore might be 3 or 4 before the season even takes off. Then you got Justin Watson, who's been showing out. You got Doris Fountain, who Dave Tope loves as a special teams guy. Corey Coleman has looked decent. Cornell Powell has looked like he's picking up things and he's made plays every time he has an opportunity out there. So Josh Gordon is looking. He has to go out there on Saturday and make some big plays. He has to make, because I imagine he would either be playing with Chad Henne. Whether it's Chad Henne, Shane Bichelle, or Daniel Crum, he's going to have to make those 2-3 guys look good. And he's going to have to make some plays on the field. and showed that he may not be the Josh Gordon that everybody keeps harkening on from 2013, but he's got to show that he still has a little bit juice left in there that he can make some plays here and there. That he could be a vital or a weapon on this team for Patrick Mahomes. He has to go out there and show that he could, he's still that freakish athlete that can make big plays down the field, or at least be a very good possession receiver for third down, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Where's Josh Gordon? This is very important for Josh Gordon, not just for his future on the Kansas City Chiefs, but his future in the NFL. Because I believe if he fails for the Chiefs, I don't think Josh Gordon will be on another team. I think his success on Saturday will be very vital for his career, period. Now, if he goes out there and looks good, maybe the Chiefs keep him along a little bit longer, and maybe at the end of all of this, just because of depth purposes and special teams purposes, Josh Gordon gets cut. He gets he goes off waivers, and maybe the Kansas City Chiefs still do him a solid and bring him onto their practice squad. But still, this game is very important for the career of Josh Gordon. I know that sounds crazy for a player of the name Josh Gordon and the player that he used to be. But this game on Saturday, I mark my words, is very important for Josh Gordon. And if he does not have a good game, this might be the end of Josh Gordon in the NFL. So I'm wishing him the best. I'm rooting for Josh Gordon, not only on the field, but off the field, because I want to see that guy. He looks like mentally he's in a better space, and it looks like he's trying to do better. But I do root for him because I want to see him do good on the field. But if he has drop passes, if he's not running the right route, if he's not getting open, no separation, it might be it for Josh Gordon. So that's something to look out for. So yeah, Ronald Jones. Who else am I talking about? Ronald Jones and Josh Gordon is very important for them to make some plays on Saturday. So that's my time today. Also, before I go, one of the other things that I'm looking for is, how this first team defense looks. Are they flying around? And how this first team offense looks. Are they looking crisp? Is the timing good between, Patrick Mahomes and Juju, MVS, Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore? Those are some of the things I will be looking for on Saturday when they take the field on Saturday. How they look. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be perfect, but I would like to see the first team offense, when they take the field, can they move the ball down the field? Because if it's 3 and out both series, that's going to be the talking point, not only in local media for the Kansas City Chiefs, but national media will pick that apart and say, this is life without Tyreek Hill. So I would like to see the offense take the field, move the ball down the field, make some plays. Everybody's, happy. Going into the, starting off, looking at this offense, they don't skip a beat. They're going down the field. They score a touchdown. I want to see this defense flying around, making plays. And like I said in before, there's a lot of rookies on here. But I want to see these rookies flying around, showing that speed, hitting, and making some plays out there. Making life uncomfortable for Justin Fields or whoever the quarterback is out there. So that's what I'm looking for on Saturday. Now, that's my time for today. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for listening, taking your time out to listen to my podcast. And like I said, I want to give a big shout out to every morning quarterback. I'm excited for this partnership, and I appreciate them reaching out to me and you know asking me to be a part of their team. So, and if you're a new time listener, a new time subscriber, you can find the Arrowhead Chief podcast on all streaming websites, um, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Breaker, Google, Apple, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, man, because I will be putting more content on the YouTube channel. And you can find me on everymorningquarterback.com. It'll be a part of the locker room section. And I will be under the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll be the Kansas City Chief representative on there. So you can find me on there. And you can also find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can find me on there. Look for AH Chief Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, it's just Arrowhead Chief Podcast. And on TikTok, it's Arrowhead Chief Pod 702. So you can check us out on there. We will follow you back. We're just fans like you. We're not Hollywood or nothing like that or think we're better than anybody. If you follow us, we'll follow you. Once again, I want to thank you guys for your support, your love. Hopefully Saturday we have some good things to look at from this game. And hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I'm gone. Go Chiefs.